improving lives, building leaders, creating legacies.
Ooh.
That is my purpose. If we want to change this country, we have to be able to lead ourselves.
This is about control, everybody knows, everyone complies, we're the kinds of pros, I don't need a plane, I just hit the road, I do what I want, I can't sell my soul, market about to crash, this is what you chose, ruining the country, I've been best to go, you gon' take the mark, I take narrow roads, I'm a man of God, I can never fold.
Welcome to the Protect Your Purpose podcast, where we talk whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. I am your host, Matt Marchese, and this is my co-host, Zach Grady. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, dude?
I'm not going to insult you anymore.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to insult you.
Yeah,
Just
I was going to say.
No, I just listen.
This wouldn't feel the same.
No, when we start this thing over in our new studio, I'm going to do scripted insults.
Oh, so you're going to be more prepared.
I'm going to. Yes, I've decided I'm going to dedicate 1 hour a week to strictly the
Writing
preparation on your
insults.
insults. Anyway, all right, moving along. Today we have a very special guest, Brett Stevens. Welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, man. Happy
Yeah,
to be here.
I
Grateful to
appreciate
be
you
here.
coming in for sure. Brett is a local entrepreneur here in Nebraska. He's the owner of Invictus Mobile Audio Care. Audio Care.
Yeah.
Auto Care. He does not do audio care, but here in the studio we might need some audio care.
Yeah.
My bad. Yes, the owner of Invictus Mobile Auto Care. Him and his business partner, Kevin Holden. They operate in Omaha, Nebraska and Kansas City, Missouri, not Nebraska, with a vision to expand into 5 more states over the next 5 years, huh?
That is right.
Oh.
That's awesome. Brett is also a devout Christian, a dedicated husband and father, a competitive badass power lifter, and my favorite, a Constitution enthusiast and a true American hero. Brett also has a heart for those battling with addiction and hopes to use his story to inspire others to a better life in the areas of faith, family, fitness, bee's knees, and finances. I'm excited to hear what you have to say and hear your story. Welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. So tell us, dude, this is right up our alley. It's no surprise that you landed across the table from me.
For sure.
And of course, by way of Zach, as usual. But yeah, right up our alley. It's basically your person is right on brand for our beliefs. So I'm excited to talk to you about a couple things. I probably want to start with, I don't know, most might find the most boring, but tell us about your business, dude. What do you do?
Yeah, man. So Invictus Mobile Auto Care, we help individuals and businesses save time and money by delivering auto care services directly to their front door. We specialize in 4 different areas. 3 of those 4 areas are totally mobile. So that's mobile detailing, mobile auto glass, mobile oil changes. We'll also do like little other things here like wipers, batteries, air filters, stuff like that. But the other area that's not mobile, got to be done in a little bit more of a controlled environment. We'll do like ceramic coatings and window tinting too for vehicles.
Ceramic coatings.
Like so paint protection.
Got it.
Yeah. Interior protection, stuff like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
How long you been in business?
So this iteration of our company is going to be 2 on August 1st. But we've been doing business. Thank you.
Of course.
We've been doing business for about 5 years now. My
awesome.
partner and I have.
You and your partner together.
Yeah.
All in the auto industry?
Yes. I've been in the car business since I was 15 years old. Started out in a detail department, went into sales, back-end shop, parts, did everything except finance. Tried getting out of it 4 times. I got like Stockholm syndrome with the car business though.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's one of those busises, dude.
So just
It is.
for time reference, how old are you now?
I'll be 40 this year.
Okay, that's a long time.
40. You're a young man.
Yeah. Still got a lot of mileage left, man.
Yeah. Young man. 40 years old.
Wait, when's your birthday?
August 10th.
So you and your business turn 40 and 2 around the same time.
right.
August and August.
And my dog is turning 10 on the 13th.
Oh,
man.
damn.
That's going to be a big month. We should have had
August is
John
gonna be
in
busy
August.
for you, man.
It is.
Well, good. All right. So what was what you said this iteration of your business? What was the last, just for context, for conversation piece, I need to know.
Yeah.
So I can probe deeply into your business model. Yes, I need to know where you came from. So 5 years ago, we'll call it, what were you doing?
So we started out like strictly as an auto glass company.
Yeah.
So we, rather than being like a traditional, like, hey, here's our brick and mortar store.
Yep.
We actually partnered with car dealerships.
Yep.
So on the service drive, I had a bunch of 1099 workers on service drives inspecting windshields as service customers came through. And then they just pitched services, repair, replacement, protection.
Yep.
We got in with Woodhouse, which is one of the largest auto dealers here in the Midwest. Everything was going great. COVID hit, then everything was not so great. But thankfully, we were able to kind of navigate that. And that was my first experience into like real business leadership, like when shit really hits the fan.
Right.
What are you going to do? And did what I knew how to do at the time, had some guys stay with me. It was awesome. Things started getting back to quote unquote normal. And, things were just really weird. So that kind of started dropping off. I tried to rehire new people. The talent pool was super shallow at the time.
It's rough these days.
Yeah. And so I talked to the VP of operations over there, and I was just like, hey, I'm having a really hard time trying to find great people to put into your shops. He goes, Brett, we are too.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was just like, let's put it on hold. Let's see what happens. So I thought I was losing that business. I got my real estate license because I didn't want to go back to a job. I didn't want to go back to like the 9 to 5 working in an auto dealership, even though I love that business. I had my taste of entrepreneurship and I was unhireable. Right. Basically.
Yeah.
So,
you have rendered yourself unemployable.
That's right.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago. I was like fucking 19 when I rendered myself unemployable.
I love it.
But
I love it.
I've been employed since then. It just never works out real.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm actually I was in the Army, Sergeant Potzel. You remember him?
Mm-hmm.
One day.
He actually works at battalion now.
He worked at battalion then too. I was in line for a PHA or whatever we were doing, and I'm like,
It's a physical, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing a physical, like our whole battalion, and I looked at the line. It's different like sections, vision and hearing and this and that, all the things. And I looked at them all, and I was like, I'll just be the last person to go. Like, I'm not waiting, and I'm not going to sit here and do this shuffle shit. So I left for like, I don't know, probably 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, all day. I left and then came back, and I had 0 checked off of my list. I hadn't done any of them. And Sergeant Potzel was like, what do you have left? I was like, I have everything left. And he's like, what do you mean everything? I'm like, there's no lines though, so it should go really fast. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just decided I would wait till the last one. I wasn't going to do that. And he just looks at me and goes, you'd be the worst employee ever. And I'm like, oh, that's a fact, bro. I'm the
100%.
worst. I would be terrible. Anyway, I feel you. I feel your pain. So, okay. So then you decided, I'm curious to know, what did you do anything with the real estate?
Sold like 2 houses.
Okay. And then what happened?
Woodhouse called back.
I need the car business.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And it was a different guy. It was a VP of a different department. He was like, hey, we're redoing our protection program. And the entire sales staff is asking, like, we want glass protection in this. And not just like the repair warranty stuff, but like a replacement plan too.
Sure.
Is that something you guys would be open to putting together and letting us know? And becoming part of our main protection package.
Yes.
For a 20 rooftop dealership.
Let's go.
Yeah, we can do that. And like on the inside, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, like, yes!
Of course.
Yeah. So did that and been working with them ever since. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
You still have that in place?
Yep.
That's incredible.
Been a really good relationship. And so from there, the auto glass business that we started with, just kind of some differing opinions and vision and how we want to move business forward.
Between who?
The company was called Security Auto Glass, which we still have a phenomenal relationship with. They're incredible people. Absolutely love Larry and his team. But my business partner and I just decided, hey, we have a little bit of a different vision with how we would like things to go. So we went independent. We started Invictus. Officially launched August 1st of 2022. And I said, like, hey, like, I still want to do auto glass. I still want to keep that in. Obviously, we just started this new warranty plan. Now we have to become a warranty company, which was a whole different learning curve process to get official, So,
yeah.
But I just said, hey, I still want to do auto glass so we can back up this warranty company with another company. But I detailed for forever. I still know how to do it. Like, I can do it in my sleep.
Sure.
I want to add detailing, and I want to be fully mobile. It's not really that big and popular right now here in Omaha, but down in Kansas City, it's
Rocking.
Who do you use? So I wanted to get on the front end of that. So we launched Invictus Mobile Auto Glass and Detail, and that was doing really, really well. The detailing side of it actually took off a lot quicker than the auto glass side of it. So that's kind of our bread and butter now. Decided to get trained up in ceramic coatings and added that to our menu.
That's cool.
Ran into a guy who was looking to get rid of a mobile oil change company because he was going to move on to becoming a firefighter like he always wanted to be.
Sure.
And so acquired his customer list and that book of business, added oil changes. And then anytime I would say we do auto glass, they were just like, oh, do you do tinting too? And I had to say no.
Yeah.
And like 10 times, like literally 9 or 10 times out of 10, I said auto glass. Do you tint? No.
Damn it.
So it's like, okay, adding that.
Guess I got to be tinting.
Yeah, got to be tinting. And then you see a lot in the winter, especially on the car that I brought.
Yeah.
My wife drives it. I'm not saying anything about that.
Right.
Wheel repair is something that we're going to be adding
Okay.
to that.
You're going to need
book of
it. If
business.
your wife's driving you.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
But that is also something so really our vision is we want to become kind of that one-stop shop for vehicle reconditioning.
Okay. Vehicle reconditioning. So that would include what would be 100%. Maybe that's something you can't even describe or list. What would be 100%? What other lines of service would you have left to add to be 100%?
So after window tinting, or excuse me, after wheel repair, you'd be looking at interior repair, like upholstery, carpet repair, leather repair, vinyl repair, stuff like that. And then you could go as far into like as full-blown body work.
I was going to say like dent repair, things like that. Or
PDR, yep. And I actually have a guy that I refer a ton of business out to. We actually work side by side in a body shop together for 10 years. He does incredible work. So I give everything to him.
There's tons of money in that.
Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's very similar to my industry with the insurance world, where you get to charge full price as long as you're within the bounds of the scope of work, of course.
yeah. So stuff like that. Then you could do like minor bumper repair to where you don't have to be a full-fledged body shop to do it. But that could also expand out into, hey, we got a paint booth. We do body work too. And we're also a body shop.
So glass, wheels, windows, tinting, cleaning, upholstery, body, bumper,
Yep.
all the above.
full service. That's interesting,
Yes.
dude. I don't know. I know nothing about that business. So I appreciate you telling me about it. And are you making money?
A little bit.
Good.
Yep. So we're getting closer to me being able to actually pay myself something.
That's good.
But right now it's just I'm
Grinding.
just grind. I was actually just telling Zach like I'm probably about 60% operator, 40% owner right now.
Okay.
And then we're kind of mapping out a plan for my partner and I both to get a little bit further away from the operating portion and
Sure.
like, hey, let's focus on just getting this thing rocking and rolling. Let's expand it and let's grow it and make it something awesome.
So I'll give you a little bit of unsolicited advice.
Please.
You've probably heard this, or maybe you've heard this. It's not exactly like groundbreaking information here that I'm about to gift you.
Sure.
Sales.
Yeah.
Sales solves these problems. I love that you're in this space in your business and a guest on my show, because this place in the business, I've grown and built several businesses.
Yeah.
And I can so closely relate to that time in my businesses where I was 100% owner operator, and the transition into owner outside of operator, and removing yourself from removing myself rather from the day-to-days is something that as I've grown several businesses, I learned was the goal. And I also learned what the solution was to that problem to get me out of that. And I'm telling you, Sales solves all. And that's the biggest problem, obviously, in small businesses, is being able to scale. And sales is the way to do it. So if you get a big ass account, you seem like I love this. I love the story of where you were because that's just a part of it. You needed to go there.
Yep.
Some people look at it and they're like, oh, I can't start over. Or I can't do this and can't do that. And I'm already here. And they'll just sit there and beat this dead horse to death. And it's like, no, you had to have that experience in your life. And now maybe it's time to throw that part of the business away and transition out. It looks like you've got a plan that you've already started to transition from one aspect of the business into another. And then you've got bigger plans. Sales. Because even if you mess everything up, if you sell your ass off and get some big accounts or sell more than you can produce, now your problem that you're trying to solve is how the hell am I going to produce this? But at the end of that production cycle of getting that done, and surely you'll figure it out, you'll probably piss some people off in the meantime. Full transparency with your customers. Hey, we're over capacity, as you mentioned. I just don't have the guys, but we're going to service you the best we can. We're going to burn the midnight oil. That's where you use those opportunities as like growth spurt opportunities where, hey, I've got this volume, and now you can hire that out. Now you can bring on another team member. But the way to do that is to put your back against the wall. So I don't know. If I were you, I'd be focusing a lot of my efforts to get out of that, to get into that probably 90-10 or 80-20. I'd be full court pressing on sales. That's great.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
So cool. I love that, man. All right. Well, I want to talk about, God, I want to talk more about that. You know what? Let's not pivot yet. Kansas City.
Yeah.
So maybe you mentioned it, but you started in Nebraska and then went to Kansas City?
So the way this happened is I actually got my entrepreneurial journey started in the network marketing space. And that's how I met Kevin, my partner, and we became fast friends. Like our families became fast friends. And I was working for Mattress Firm at the time. That was actually the fourth time I left the car business. I was a store manager for Mattress Firm. I liked it well enough, but it's a lot of sitting in a Mattress Firm store, man.
Sure.
But
a lot of money in the mattress world too.
there is a
God,
lot.
man,
Yeah.
there's a lot of money.
With what I bought my high-end mattress for during what they called Mattress Madness, the employee sale, I was like,
Sure.
Good Lord, these guys are making money hand
Yeah,
over
a couple
fist.
$100 versus a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Fucking nutty.
It's crazy.
The margin in mattresses, man.
So
A third of your life is spent sleeping, fellas. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Very
right.
true.
That's the sales pitch.
That's the sales
That's how they
pitch.
get you on those multiple thousands. That's for sure.
Throw in the base and everything.
That's right.
So I was at a convention. The Mattress Firm board of directors got into a bunch of trouble for pocketing some money they shouldn't have.
Sure.
Oh,
Got bought
shocker.
out by another company. So anytime that happens with big corporations, people start getting laid off. So I was worried about that. We were at a convention. Kevin approached me. He's like, hey, talking to this Larry dude. He's got this auto glass thing. I'm like, oh, the car business. Of course Larry has this car
All
thing.
roads lead to the car business.
And he was like, he's got a team up in Michigan, and he wants to expand nationally. Nobody on that team really wants to branch out just yet, or nobody's ready to. But he talked to me. Sounds like a great opportunity. I'm getting it rocking down in Kansas City. He asked me if I knew anybody, and you were the first person that popped into my head. You want to talk to him? I said, yeah, sure.
Let's go.
Yep. Met him. Liked what I heard. I was like, let's rock. And that's kind of how that happened.
Network marketing. Mattress Firm? Different network marketing.
Different network marketing.
What kind of network
Yeah.
marketing? MLM, right? Multi-level network
Yeah.
marketing. It's another name for pyramid scheme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever
We'll call
it is.
that. For
And,
context to our audience, that's what when he says network marketing, they've churched that up good and well. So no, network marketing. There's a lot of really successful businesses doing that too. What were you selling? What was the brand?
So originally, it was called Life Leadership. And originally, what got me on board it was like leadership education, financial education, wanting to change the country and wanting to change the way people think. Totally on board with it. And then they kind of went back to the product stuff. I was like, ugh,
Damn it.
come on, guys.
Yeah. What was the product?
So it's an app. It's a great app. Really super cool app. But like it's they do like cash back. So they kind of still towards the financial literacy side of things. But it's like it's a cash back app, man. You know? And it's a great app. It's just, and you can buy stuff off of it too that they sell. And it was just, I didn't want the product stuff. I liked the leadership and helping change people's lives and building a community of people that are doing that stuff and pushing each other forward and pushing families forward.
Yeah.
Which they still have that. it's just a corner of what they do. And I felt it became less and less of that focus. So that's why I decided to separate from it.
So tell me more about what it looked like for the leadership and the development aspect that you did like of that. I'm very interested, and I'll tell you why.
So it was books, it was audios, and it was community. So I think it was Jim Rohn who said, in the next 5 years, you're going to be the direct product of the books you read, the media you consume, I guess is what we can call it now, and the people that you hang around. And that's actually what changed my life. I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit before we started recording, but I struggled with an addiction for 10 years, with an alcohol addiction for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And while I was in this company, I was still dealing with it. And it was because of the information that I started changing, into my brain and getting around people that wanted to be successful and that wanted to push themselves and others forward. That's one of the things that helped get me clean. That's one of the things that I'm always thankful for that, is that got not just
that network marketing company.
Yep.
Helped you get clean.
Yep.
You said it was
I should
books,
say-
audio, and what?
And community, just the people. I should say the people and the mentorship I received, and people investing into me and speaking into my life was the reason why I said I have to get better. I have to get rid of this.
Yeah.
And then it was two specific people, two of my good friends, Mark Popejoy and Ryan Holt, who are double decades sober. They actually helped me, just pushed me over the edge and showed me that tough love that got me into a 30-day rehab program. I mean, my life was falling apart. And if it wasn't for those two, super, super thankful for them, I wouldn't be here.
In that network marketing program.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So if anybody's new to entrepreneurship or doesn't really know where to start, I always tell them make sure the company's reputable.
Yeah.
But starting a direct sales program, man, it'll teach you hey, here's how you make phone calls. Here's how you follow a script. Here's how you go and talk to people and introduce yourself. Here's some books. Here's some personal development stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic jumping off point.
I love that. I've never heard of a network marketing business that sells lifestyle and that sells a concept rather than a product.
Yep.
And I'm very interested in it. So I'm actually almost the opposite of sobriety. We'll call it that. I'm actually starting a distilled spirits business with a franchise model concept where the objective is, which I've been asked if I would consider turning it into a network marketing business. And I'm like, no, I won't, just because I won't, for a number of reasons. But it probably would work in mine, but our whole concept is around lifestyle, it's community and sharing individual purpose in hopes to spread it into communities to change the world that way.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in knowing more about that business, because I might be able to hijack some of their concepts.
Glean some of the stuff off of it. Yeah,
some
for
of
sure.
their good shit they have. So anyway, I'm interested more in that, but you mentioned it. So now it's open season. I was going to talk to you about it anyway.
Yep.
In your bio, we mentioned that you battled addiction, and then you said 10 years was a dog fight for you, I guess.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
So that kind of started, the 10 years was super active addiction. It got bad. Almost lost my wife. Doctor told me I was a dead man. Also accepted Christ while I was in rehab. And a lot of people have told me that's not how it happens, or that's impossible. I'm here to tell you right now, I was a dead man. Science told me I was a dead man. Doctor told me I was a dead man. I accepted Christ back into my life, got out of rehab. About a month and a half later, my doctor comes in and says, I don't know what to tell you. You're completely healed. You're a miracle. There's no way to explain what happened to you. He goes, I don't know what you believe in, but you better start believing in something.
Yeah. I don't know what you believe in, bro.
When you say dead man, though, failure, liver failure, what exactly?
My body was shutting down. Yellowed eyes, liver was going down.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they were we can get you on a transplant list, but you got to be clean for 6 months before you can even be considered to be put on one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said sometimes it can happen right away. or sometimes you're waiting a year. We don't know if you're going to make it, is what they told me.
That's crazy.
So,
You were talking about getting put on a liver transplant list?
yeah, man.
And look at you, just here with your own liver and shit. Beautiful white eyes.
The OG liver with no yellow eyes.
No, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You might maybe use that Lumify. Did you put eye drops in? You
No.
You just got white eyes. Good for
Yeah.
you, man.
What time frame of life was this for you?
20 to 30
Okay.
was active addiction. So, I mean, like, it's the little things that kind of build up to it. So, started smoking when I was 11 years old, smoked weed for the first time when I was 12, drank for the first time when I was 14, and then just kind of had that habit of, oh, I'm a partier, so I like to party. Then got into college. Well, I dropped out of college the first time, went back to college, got kicked out of college the second time because of partying.
As you do.
Yeah, but that was in college. That was where, like, oh, been drinking all night. Now I'm running down. Oh, well, somebody says cocaine will help even you out. Here it is.
Cycle.
Yep. And so it just kind of it spiraled very, very quickly. I met my wife April 8th of 2006. I remember that because it was my brother's birthday. And I was just getting ready to turn 22. Still battling, still doing all that stuff. We absolutely fell head over heels in love with each other. We met April of 06. We got married July of 07. And we had our son September of 08. Still together today. She's my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter, like any other woman wouldn't have been able to do.
So your wasted mind made at least one good decision.
That's right.
Hey, you didn't sober up 10 years later and be like, what the hell? Who are you?
Yeah,
Who are these
what is
kids?
Yeah.
What's happening? That's good. All right. So
So the first
Good on you.
The first 8, 7, 8, 9 years of your relationship, you were
Yes.
actively you're an active addict.
Yes.
did
That's
you know
crazy.
it then?
Well, we both came from we were both cut from the party cloth.
Oh,
Okay.
So she wasn't an alcoholic or an addict by any means, but she had her fun as well.
Yeah, join the
before
club.
before she met me, and then we kind of met each other and figured that's what we had in common initially. But hers calmed down, and then obviously she found out she was pregnant. So, like, she was smoking, she was drinking, like, she stopped all of it.
Yeah.
And I just kept going.
Yeah.
So, and it got to a point where I got laid off from a job, and like, I'm totally gonna start looking for another job. Honey, I promise.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go real hard at it, and I didn't. And I was up to, like, at my worst, I was up to a 175, a handlebar of vodka
No way.
every day for about a month and a half. That, like, right before I got into rehab. So when I made the decision of, hey, I need help, like, and just kind of having that surrender, I called a rehab facility. Like, the doctor was like, well, we got these these outpatient rehab facilities. I said, no, like, you got to lock me up.
Yeah.
If you let me leave, I will go use.
Do you have some sort of intervention? Did someone tell you this?
Yes. So my grandfather passed away September 30th, 2013. My grandfather was one of the hugest influences in my life.
Sure.
And that exacerbated, everything. But there was one day I was going down to my hiding spot,
Okay.
and bent over to pick up the bottle of booze out of the cupboard I kept it in, and I knocked my head, like, real hard. And didn't think anything of it. Was just like, oh, whatever. Like, puked later that day, and I thought it was just because I'd been drinking. Turns out my head was, ringing, you know?
Really?
And so I called my mom and dad. I'm like, hey, I feel really funky. Like, I bonked my head, can't drive because I, quote, bonked my head.
Right.
I was also 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
They came pick me up, take me to the hospital, to the ER. And my mom goes, Brett, you reek of alcohol.
Yeah.
She was like, what's your deal? What's going on? Like, you need to talk to the doctor
So
about
you were
that.
hiding this for most of the time. Nobody
Yes.
knew how serious it was.
Nobody knew how bad. My dad didn't even know how bad it was. I'll get to that in a little bit. But my dad didn't even know how bad it was until he dropped me off at rehab. But she was like, being a mom, just kind of reading me the riot act. and she was just like, "Are you doing this because of the day of what day it is today? Are you doing this because of Grandpa?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "It's been a year since your grandfather passed away." And that was kind of like my, oh shit. It was September 30th, 2014.
Yeah.
So
Your grandpa smacked you upside the head, bro.
that he did.
Wonk. Boy,
Yep.
get your shit together.
Yep. So, yeah, I was just like that entire ride to the ER. I was just like, yep, I got to, this is serious.
It's go time.
Yep. I need help. So told the doctor about it. He goes, well, the only inpatient rehab center that we have in Nebraska is Valley Hope up in O'Neill, Nebraska. It's a 30-day program. You know, I can get you the contact information, but we cannot make the call. Like, you got to make the call. So I did, and the intake nurse is just asking me a series of questions of, you know, like, when was the last time you drank? I was like, well, yesterday. I'm trying not to drink. And she's like, well, how much are you drinking? And I was like, it's like a 1.75 of vodka every day. And she goes, holy shit. You know, it's bad when when you make an intake nurse
At
say,
a
holy
rehab
shit.
facility.
Yeah, at a rehab facility.
If you surprise them, you're doing good. Yeah.
So she goes, look, this is not a ticket to go out and get hammered, but
You can't be sober coming in here.
you cannot detox safely by yourself. You could go into cardiac arrest and die. And so I was just like, I took that as, okay, well, cool, let's go out and get hammered.
Yeah.
So-
One more hoorah.
Yep. So like, fessed up to my wife, like, hey, I'm leaving for rehab tomorrow. I have been hiding this from you for a year. I'm still using.
She didn't know you were using at all?
She had an idea, or she had a suspicion that I still was. But
Did you make a claim? Sorry to interrupt. Did you make a claim
yes,
that you were sober?
yes,
Like dead sober?
yes,
No use at all.
yes,
And your wife, people around you thought you were sober already and you had been secretly now
Yes.
using for a year.
Yeah.
Alcoholics do some fucked up shit, man.
we are.
I wonder how you-
masters at deception.
Yeah, I was
Master
gonna say,
manipulators.
yeah.
That's right. I agree.
So
That's incredible.
fessed up to her, and she just sat there and like stared at the floor, and it was like 2 minutes of silence. Felt like years, and I was like, please just say something. She goes, you want me to say something? She was like, I want to leave you. She goes, you lied to me. She was like, but I love you, and if you need to get help, then you need to go get help. So went up there. I drank the entire way up there, but got up there, didn't know if I was going to live, didn't know if I was, even if I got out, if, you know, my wife was still going to be there, if I was still going to have my son in my life.
Yep.
And then almost went into cardiac arrest in detox. They told me on average people stay in detox for about 3 days, then you'll get out and you'll get into the community, and, you know, we'll get you a room and set up with a roommate and everything. I was in there for 6 days. Almost went to cardiac arrest there, got my blood results back. They're like, hey, your enzyme levels are super, super high. We need to take you up to the local hospital and get you checked out because something's wrong. And the nurse there, very motherly, a very sweet lady, but she was like, she goes, we've only seen 2 people in your situation come out on the other side of this. This is why we need to go up to the hospital. Went up to the hospital, and that's when I found out like all this other stuff, like the 6 months on the transplant list, and the doctor was just like, I don't know if you're going to make it. So had to go back, sit on the edge of the bed, think of if that happens, you know, there's going to be another dude married to my wife. There's going to be another dude raising my son. And I was just that at that point, that's when I made the decision of whether this kills me or not, I'm going to go down swinging. You know, even if it does, I'm going down swinging. Like, I'm going to get better.
I'm surprised you were able to make that decision.
It was hard. It was hard, man.
Just in my experience, I have an addictive personality. I don't know why I haven't been, I don't know. I've been spared, I think. And I think it's just because I was maybe young enough to where I just realized that I hate hangovers. So I avoid drinking. Yeah. And the older I get, obviously the worse those become and the sooner they are. So now I can only go have a couple drinks. I mean, even on the show, we usually drink on the show, which we are not drinking today because you're not drinking and Zach and I are both fasting at the moment. So we're not drinking. Good news today. Great day to not drink.
Fasting and booze is dangerous combo.
It's tough.
Not good.
Yeah, it sure is. Especially when, longer fast. When I do want to drink, I'm like, oh no, I can't come off of a fast and then destroy all those fragile little cells. It
Right.
would be awful. I've never done it, but surely you can break a fast with some alcohol and
Oh yeah.
fuck yourself up pretty well. So anyway, yeah, I've never had to battle that, I think, just because I just didn't like being sick.
Yeah.
So there are times where even on the show, I have a couple drinks and all of a sudden I'm going, shit. Good news, it's during the day, so I don't have to go sleep and then have that hangover. I guess, stay drunk throughout the day. But, yeah, for me, I've never personally had it, but I've got some family members, very close family members, siblings, other more distant family members that and friends that have battled this, and I've gotten to witness it very much firsthand, very up close and personal. And it surprises me that you were able to determine that and come out of it being so deep in it. Because what I've seen is to dig yourself out of that fucking hole.
You got to hold up a mirror to a lot of dark places inside yourself, and talking about character defects.
Yeah, man.
Like you got to uncover a lot of those and realize that, hey, you're doing this because you're covering up maybe some mental illness issues, but you're also trying to cover up the fact that there are parts of you that are a really garbage person, and it sucks and it hurts. But nothing worth it is going to be very easy.
Nothing worth it.
Ever.
We've got an overarching theme on this show.
Yeah,
And that is exactly that. Nothing worth it is easy.
absolutely.
If it was worth it, it wouldn't be easy, I can assure you. Or everyone would do it, therefore it watered down its value, and it's not going to be easy.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I'm impressed by that.
Appreciate it, man.
That's
Thank
a
you.
battle. And you really do. You have to look yourself in the eyes, in the mirror, and be honest with yourself. Question on that. At what point did you go from... What was the determining factor, rather, or time period, however you want to word it or talk about it, where you knew that you went from a party lifestyle, fun, socially drinking, or use of whatever drug or alcohol you were using, to this is a problem? Was it the medical, or was it your community? Was it what was it?
Well, looking back now, with obviously hindsight being 2020,
Sure.
it was the second round of college where I was living in, it was like a small 4-bedroom apartment with 3 of my good buddies, and we were the party. We were the party room.
Yeah.
We didn't have class on Friday, so Thursday night we were always partying. We would wake up and I would continue. My buddies wouldn't, but I would. And given that independence with my dependence on alcohol, is where it really started to pump up and become a serious problem.
So you knew this was a problem for years before you actually or it was becoming a problem for a while before you.
It
got
was
the
about
help.
2 years before I got help.
Oh, okay.
That I started to realize, like, this is an issue. And then the darkest point, which when you're in recovery rooms, you start realizing, like, a lot of people go through this realization, and it's very scary, is that we come to a realization of this is going to kill me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, man. That's the one.
And it's,
Death.
yeah. And that was probably about, I would say, about 8 months before I decided, like, dude, I need help. Yeah.
And you even mentioned, like, you go through the process of understanding you probably need to quit and slow down, but you have to come to that realization yourself a lot of times. Because you've heard some of the stories about my brother and stuff. We won't go in depth in that, but I learned a lot about the addiction process because I'm similar to Matt. Like, I've never had a problem with alcohol or drugs or anything like that.
So we know.
Yeah.
At least we think we have.
Yeah. Maybe I haven't came to the realization yet.
Nobody's launched some intervention methods or
You haven't walked
efforts.
into any rooms with a bunch of people in a circle yet?
No, not yet.
So
Yeah.
it is kind of, it was a little harder for me to kind of understand and sympathize and empathize with that. But I've learned a lot, and I've met a couple of people along the way that have kind of taught me too, because we did a lot to try to help my brother out.
Yeah.
And it kind of hurt us when it didn't
Yep.
help, and it didn't, solve all his world's problems,
Yeah.
But we've met some other people along the way that kind of told us, like, hey, like, sometimes you can do all you can, but if they don't want the help or they don't come to that realization themselves, like, you're not going to convince them they need help. They understand, and when they actually come to that realization, that's when things will start to change. But it doesn't matter what you do or how you do it. If they don't want it, like, they can say they want it and think they want it, but they actually have to want it and want to make the change. And there's nothing you can do in the meantime.
And that's the hardest thing to tell families, because I have people approach me like, hey, you need to talk to my son, or hey, you need to talk to my brother.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I've been on that side.
Yes.
Go ahead. I
And
shouldn't have interrupted. I want to.
Well, and my first question is, well, do they want to talk to somebody?
Right.
And a lot of the times they'll say, yeah, they've said like, hey, I really need to talk to somebody. Something's wrong. Like when they're just starting to realize that, hey, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll talk to them. Or they'll be like, well, and that's when I know.
Yeah,
they don't want to talk to anybody yet.
They're not ready.
And I have to have that conversation of like, look, if they're not ready to talk, like me, like if somebody were to, when I wasn't ready to talk, if somebody would have called me or would have approached me saying that, they wanted to have a conversation with me about my problem, I'd have kicked their ass.
Yeah.
Like but it's hard to tell people because you want to help them, but a part of them has to be ready to want to start that journey and want to take that step.
When you say a part of them, is that what you believe? It only takes a part, or do they have to be ready to commit? Like, do they have to be ready, or is, for those out there whose family members or friends, dear friends, family members, relatives, close loved ones,
Maybe themselves.
Yeah, maybe themselves.
Yeah.
Where they're like, ooh, I feel that a little bit, that I might need some help here. I mean, is that enough to kind of tip the needle or whatever? Or do they have to be able to basically go to that step 1 of the 12 step and be like, I am powerless. And I cannot do this alone.
So it at least initiates a conversation.
Sure.
And you kind of understand just through that conversation of, okay, this person is probably drinking a little too much and they should cut back, which is just, it's very simple habit replacement stuff. And even people that are battling addiction saying, hey, I'm totally powerless. I'll usually do the same thing with them. Cool. Well, I want to help you out. Mm-hmm. Meet me at the gym on Monday.
Mm-hmm. That's your tool, huh?
Yeah, man.
Let's go to the gym, baby.
So when I finally got clean, food replaced booze. And I looked like a freaking melted candle when I sat down.
Yeah.
And my doctor, luckily enough, he's honest enough. He said, like, look, bro, if booze didn't kill you, like, food's going to kill you.
Gonna
like,
get your heart now.
You're fat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I started a fitness journey that developed into prepping for a bodybuilding show. Quickly realized that my genetics, without taking an insane amount of drugs, would not get me stage ready for a bodybuilding show. So my coach was a power lifter also. I was like, hey, train me with that. Did my first competition November 2021. Showed up at a longtime family friend's gym. He's a world-class power lifter. Showed up December 2021 at that gym, and I haven't left. And that is, and when you get into that community, especially the powerlifting community, probably in a lot of other communities too, but the powerlifting community is like a magnet for addicts.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No shit.
In a big way. Because you've got to be a little insane to want to put 800 pounds on your back and squat it. But it's all about, number one, habit replacement, but also addiction is a lot of misdirected energy.
Yeah. So that was my question.
Yes.
Do you think that the best, or amongst the best ways, or at least a portion of it, I assume some level of that is true based on what you just said, but replacing one habit with another?
It's a good start. Yeah. It's definitely a good start.
It is. I've heard that said before. Like, an addict, had they directed their energy in a different place, could have been like a successful entrepreneur or, things along those lines, but they just chose the wrong path.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting to think about. I thought it was hilarious what you just said about prepping for a bodybuilding show and then being like, well, maybe I'm not a bodybuilder. So just to
Well,
differentiate.
my coach said, like, look, we've done everything we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still kind of chunky, man.
he's
Sorry,
like-
dude.
He was like, we've leaned you out as much as we probably can. He's like, you're gonna need to take A, B, and C if you really want to be stage ready. And I'm like, I looked everything up, and like what the side effects were, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah,
I don't want to be on stage that bad.
Yeah.
So just to differentiate, bodybuilding is like sculpting yourself to get on
Yes.
stage. Powerlifting is lifting as much weight as possible.
For
Two
one
very
rep.
different,
Yes.
two very different paths.
Yeah.
Because now you're probably eating 5,000 calories. What's your calorie intake on a
Yeah, let's
bodybuilder?
talk about that.
So
Nice little segue.
yeah. So
Wait, hold on. Calorie intake. Hold that thought. Before
Okay.
we go,
Yeah.
before we pivot off of this, if we've got anyone out there
Yeah.
suffering
Yep.
in recovery, early in recovery, hasn't yet got to that point, if you can give one bit of advice to them, we'll take it in two different, like early in recovery and haven't gotten there yet, still believe they may be or haven't come to terms with the fact that they're suffering. What's your advice to them? What's their move? What should they do?
At least try to take a step into what if I stop doing this?
What if?
Yep. What if? Just like
Go
your
figure.
previous episode.
Yeah, go figure.
What if I stop doing this? What is that going to be? In recovery, we call it playing the tape forward. Okay. If I have this drink, how is that going to affect, down the line? What's going to be the what do you call it? I don't know, like the butterfly effect of that.
Yeah.
What is it going to
fallout.
compound into? Yeah. But what if I decide, like, hey, I don't want to feel this way anymore? Lean into that a little bit. Also another thing that I would like to tell people, especially if they're early on in recovery, that there's so much hope that is waiting on the other side that I wish I could bottle it up and just hand it to people, but I can't.
Yeah.
You got to go through the hard stuff. And it is like people early in recovery, if you're listening right now and you're early and you're doing the work, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be so hard. It's probably going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done in your entire life.
For sure.
And you will carry it into your life if you want to maintain it. But it is so worth it, and it gets so much easier. It'll be 10 years for me, October 5th. 10
Congrats,
years.
dude.
Thanks, man.
That's so money.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So,
And I want to kind of reiterate the fact that you had just mentioned, what if I have this one drink? Like
Yep.
when you're a recovering alcoholic, it's nothing.
Zero.
And I think that's where, like, in my experiences, people go wrong is they're like, well, I've been sober for X amount of time. I think I can control it. And then they have the drink, and then once again, it just starts compounding again, and they're right back in that same situation. So
there was a guy in Valley Hope with me who had 25 years under his belt. His son threw an end of the senior graduation high school party with a bunch of his classmates, and they were drinking there. And that dude said that same thing. I got 25 years under my belt. One drink won't hurt. Within 3 weeks, he was back to his old ways.
oh man, I just
3
got
weeks.
chills, man.
I watched a dude do that one day.
Yeah.
23 years or 24 years.
Yeah.
I took a shot.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know how it turned out, but I remember sitting there going,
That
Is
seems
this-
like a bad idea.
right. And I tried a little bit, and then I'm going, this is not my,
Yeah.
do I, if they're going to do that, all I can think of is maybe that wasn't the first time, like to make myself feel better with what I had just witnessed. But all I can, and knowing that I've got family members and close friends who have battled this going, it just feels so much to me like dumping 20 years down the drain.
For sure.
Like,
on
is it worth
something.
it?
Like,
what's-
fuck, man.
yeah.
For what? Like, if you're not going to
what?
get shit out, certainly, and it was a shot of Fireball. Like, I would have rather taken a shot of dog piss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And for what? You probably would have had less heartburn with the dog piss also. Anyhow, all right, dude. Well, I appreciate you sharing that aspect of your life. That's kind of I appreciate the vulnerability. Surely that wasn't hard for you at one point, or it wasn't easy for you at one point. It
Right.
seemed pretty easy to share. Like you said, I guess it gets easier. So,
So
there is hope.
also reiterate the fact that you can't do it alone. Like you need
Absolutely.
the community, you need
Yes.
the people, you need I'm sure you have sponsors and stuff you talk to still on a regular basis.
So I actually the 12 steps is something that I'm a very, very large advocate of.
Mm-hmm.
With my belief system and the current state of AA, there's a lot of, you go into a lot of AA rooms and they bash the church. They look at God. So the way I see God is salvation through Jesus Christ. It's what I'm always going to believe. You're not going to change my mind. A lot of AA rooms is God as we understand him. So it can be a waterfall. It can be nature. It can be the creation rather than the creator.
Whatever your higher being is.
Right. And look, if it's going to get you clean, use it as the starting point. But I encourage, like, take a different look at spirituality from a different perspective, from a different lens. But I made the decision of I'm not going to pursue AA. But what I do is I have a group of 3 people that if I ever get into, so Ryan and Mark are 2 of those dudes that I will call and say, hey, I need to talk, or hey, can we go out to coffee, and just kind of get our gunk out, you know, and just talk. And it gets to a point in recovery where that's all you need. Yeah. Like, hey man, I'm going through it. Can I talk to you?
Going through it, man. I need you.
Yeah. And not even necessarily I'm going through it and I want to drink. Yeah. I'm just going through it.
Dude, I've been so lucky in my life. First of all, I have groups and organizations that I'm a part of, but I've been so transparent with so many people for so long and had such deep friendships and relationships that I can't even anymore really empathize with someone who has no one. Like my friends and community is always rated a 10 because I have so many outlets to, if I need some, and I feel totally like I've got friends that I haven't talked to in years.
Yep.
That I know that I could call if I needed something and I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be ashamed. Community, man, is huge. And that's the difference we're trying to make is bringing community back as the opposing forces that are working strongly against us, try to fucking destroy every community we have.
In a big way.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that. All right, sorry. Thank you for sharing your story, man. It's inspiring, and I'm hopeful that, man, you can do what you set out to do and make an impact on those battling that dark place, man.
For sure.
Hopefully they can get out alive. Anyway, go ahead, Zach. You had questions about calorie intake.
Dude, so you're a power lifter.
Yes.
And you've been doing this a couple years now? That's it? Is
yeah,
that you said 2021 you walked into a gym?
That was my no, so it was, God, how old was I? It was 2015 when I first walked into a gym.
Okay.
So didn't know what I was doing, but my doctor just said, bro, you're fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be fat anymore.
Yeah. So just like I literally YouTubed workout programs.
Sure.
I was a competitive martial artist previously, like when I was in my younger years. So never really lifted weights. So like
you're just naturally kind of a bigger guy though, like a Yeah.
Yep. I was always stocky. I was a stocky kid, super chubby, like chipmunk in high school. You know, where your mom still calls a baby fat, and it's like, no, I'm 13 now.
No, mom. No, I'm a grown up.
Thanks for the kind words, but no. So walked into a gym and seriously started lifting weights for the first time when I was 30, and just kind of started. My best friend Mark, who's one of the guys that helped get me clean, he did a bodybuilding show, and I was like, you know what? I didn't do that.
That's cool.
Turns out no. But after I was kind of recovering from that and putting a little bit more weight back on, I realized like the powerlifting movements were like, oh, I really like these.
Sure.
And I never even really knew what powerlifting was.
Right.
But I walked into the gym, like I said, December, right after my first competition, and Justin was just like, and Justin and Tina over at Big Iron Gym, I cannot thank them or show them enough love. Like they've done so much for me and my entire family. Sure. So my wife goes to Big Iron, my son's in Big Iron, like just an incredible community.
Yeah.
But Justin was just like, yeah, you already have a really good base, set up. He was like, let's just see where you can take it. And turned out I had a knack for squatting. So that's my best event. Deadlift is pretty decent. I hate the bench press.
How much do you squat?
The most I have ever squatted in competition was this past weekend. I set a new.
You got a new PR.
I got a new
this
PR
weekend.
This
Nice,
yes.
Dude. And he said he was just coming off of sickness.
That's great.
What
was it?
Had the flu.
He's breaking PRs 90%.
And so I squatted 803 pounds.
Jesus.
And went for another attempt at 826 pounds. My coach says I hit parallel. I felt me hit parallel. The judges said I didn't.
Okay.
So they said no lift, and my coach was like, that was a good lift. I was like, I know it was a good lift.
Anybody got a video?
Yes, we do.
So do you,
We'll leave it to
as
the
a
judge.
man
We'll
of
send it to him.
integrity, do you consider that a PR, or since the judge didn't count it, you don't count it?
I don't count it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
can't count it. So
No way.
Didn't go on record.
No, it didn't go on record, and nothing matters until the spotlight's on you anyway.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
Yep. So 803.
803, and then what about deadlift?
My best deadlift in competition is 585 pounds, and then my best bench is 501 pounds.
Is that normal? Like, can most people normally?
Let me answer that.
No, sorry.
No.
Sorry. I know
It's
lifting
not
that much
normal.
weight is not normal, but
It's not normal.
aren't most people able to deadlift more than they can squat generally, or no?
No.
Okay.
Some people, yeah.
I guess people who actually
a big,
are good at
huge
squat.
yeah, people with a big, huge deadlift, generally, like, that's their specialty. Yeah.
So yeah, most power lifters are kind of focusing on one of the big three.
Yeah. So I'm a great squatter. That's my strongest event. And so the other two, like, that's kind of like as far as totals, because that's what matters. Oh, as far as totals, that's what matters. So I rely heavily on my squat to beef up my total. And then my deadlift, like I said, is pretty decent. And my bench is probably my most challenging
But you're
event.
still lifting 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
you're a
rough.
Yeah, don't punch me. We went over this earlier. As soon as we walked in, don't you fucking punch me.
I won't.
And now I mean it.
So now back
Don't
to that
punch me.
original question. When you're in training
Yeah.
mode and competition mode, what is your diet like?
A lot of protein.
Yeah.
Like 300 to 400 grams of protein on training days.
And you're getting this through food or supplements?
Yes. Mostly through food. So I keep it ridiculously simple.
Chicken and
Chicken, steak, and I have a pound of each on training days. So a pound of steak, pound of chicken, potatoes, and then I'll supplement like protein shakes and like a little bit of mass gainer shake because it has like rice, sweet potato, like just a bunch of really good carbs.
Mass gainer. Just
So not
Building
like the
mass.
full, not like the full. You're supposed to take like 4 scoops of this, and it's like 1,000 calories.
Holy
I'll
shit.
take 2 scoops of that, and then like a scoop of protein powder. Put like a cup of mixed berries in there, and just blend that up as a shake. And I'll do that twice a day, and then I'll do half a pound of chicken, half a pound of steak for one of the meals, then another one of that later on.
what about your day to day? What do you eat day to day?
Really depends, like we're a mobile auto care company. So
Yeah,
I'm out
right.
and about.
On the road.
Sometimes it's like if it's on an off day, I'll try to eat as low carb as possible. But sometimes you're going into Casey's and you're grabbing a slice
a piece
of
of
pizza
pizza.
because it's there, dude.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
So convenient.
How old is you have one kid?
One kid. Yep.
How old is your son?
He's 15. Will be 16.
Is he also kind of doing the powerlifting thing then, or?
He's focused. So he's using powerlifting to get better at football.
Yeah.
Big
So
football.
I have kids roughly that age, and they eat a lot.
Yeah.
Between you and your son, your freaking grocery bill.
Horrible, dude.
It's the worst.
Yeah. It's horrible.
So what?
So we're going to start growing our own food around here. We're going to grow our own
Yeah.
cows and our own chickens.
My wife started making
our own-
sourdough bread, so
Yeah,
I
bro.
guess we'll
I
be
saw
eating a lot
that,
of that. So as obviously there's people have different goals when they're coming to the gym, obviously, right? For somebody that wants to increase their weight lifted on, we'll call it those big 3, right? What is your main how do you do it? Like, because I know probably what you're gonna say, but I just want to hear it from somebody who actually does it and lifts a shit ton of weight. What is your training routine like to increase the weight on the bar?
So we follow a program called linear periodization, which we'll do. Like right now, we just did a meet this weekend, so we're still going into the gym tonight, but it's going to be very, very light,
Right.
and volume.
By that
stuff.
you mean like 500 pounds or something?
No,
Right.
I'm not even. I won't touch a barbell for probably 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Just give the body time to heal. I mean, you do an entire week's worth of working out in one day, and
Beats you up.
it beats you up. Yeah. So we'll do very, very light stuff. Probably next week we might get into some barbell work. But this week it's just going to be, light stuff. And then as soon as we get into it, we'll start out with doing volume.
Who's we?
Our team, the team, powerlifting
Got
team.
it. The whole team.
Yep. So we'll do like 3 sets of 5, and then like one set of 10 with a little bit of a heavier weight than we're used to. And that volume is going to start compounding into, okay, now we're going to do 3 sets of 3. Now we're going to do 3 sets of 2. Now we're doing 3 sets of 1. We do things called board presses. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, where they put like the 2x4s on the chest, and it helps get you stronger at different parts of the bench press.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
We'll do, like when we get further into our training cycle, we do like reverse band sets on squats. So it's these bands that at the top, you're holding the full weight, but as you go down, it gets lighter,
Yep.
so you can get out of the hole quicker, so you can lift heavier than normal. But yeah, it's literally, it's little by little stuff. And I have full confidence and trust in Justin and Tina knowing what they're doing. So usually I just kind of...
So you show up and they tell you what you're doing.
I drag Knuckles in, bro. And I just look at the notebook. What does the notebook say? That's what we're doing? Cool.
Yeah.
So anybody just going to the gym, though, it's progressed like the 5-3-1 method,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
strong lifts is like 5x5s.
Yeah.
So doing heavier weight, lower reps.
Yeah.
But like percentage of your overall PR.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what because you always hear, if you want to get stronger, lower reps, higher weight. If you want to, if you're more bodybuilding, lower weight, higher reps. Is there a lot of truth to that in your experience, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So and actually to move more weight, you got to build muscle. Like mass moves mass.
Right.
Excuse me. So we do our main lift, and say we'll go heavy. Say we're doing like one set, we're doing 1 by 1, and we're gradually increasing the weight 5 times. Let's just say on the main lift, let's just say use bench press. Right after that, we're going to go into like accessory movements, which
Flies or...
Yep, flies. We're going to do like decline bench press, dumbbell bench press. We have the hammer strength machines in our gym. I love those things.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Seems great.
And we'll do some of that, and then we'll do shoulder work.
And you're going heavy on these, or those are just lighter
As heavy
weight?
as you can go for the amount of reps that are assigned.
Got you.
Yep. So, and then what I usually tell people is that last set, like do one, like if we're doing like 4 sets of 10 on a hammer press bench, like, hey, on that last set, do a weight where you're only going to get like 7 or 8 reps.
Yeah.
And that's how you get stronger. So it's called power building, basically. Like, you're doing your powerlifting movements, but it's that bodybuilding stuff that's going to help build your muscle. It's going to help build mass. And the heavier you're starting to do those 10 reps on your accessory movements, the stronger you're going to get on your main lift. So accessory movements are insanely important to get stronger on those bigger lifts.
That's crazy.
You know what I do? Just go to CrossFit. This way I don't have to think at all. I'm not doing shit even when I go. All of that, it's like its own another job.
Oh.
Like another thing that you have to think about and structure and put together. And I just don't, it doesn't land at high enough on my list to do it. But it does land high enough on my list to pay somebody else to do it. Because I understand the value and the importance of it. But I don't think, winging it has never worked for me. I have to go into something structured.
Oh, yeah. Winging it kept me fat. And
Yeah.
like I was in the gym
too.
and I was doing it, but I wasn't seeing anything, Yeah.
You got to have somebody who knows what the hell they're doing,
Yep.
dialed in, or else you're
I just go back
shooting in the dark,
I go
blindfolded.
back and forth too often. Like, I'm like, man, I want to cut and I want to be ripped and I want to be, but I also want to be stronger and lift stronger, so I just go back and forth too much. So basically it ends up me staying the same. I really need to pick a direction, figure out where I want to go. I'd really like to, before I get too old to not be able to lift, I know this is going to sound silly to you, but I'm a little guy. The 1,000-pound club would be freaking awesome.
Dude.
Which
Absolutely.
is
his squat.
His squat basically.
That's my long-term goal.
That's
the 1,000-pound squat is the long-term goal.
Oh,
See,
really?
we're both
Let's
want to be
go.
part of the 1,000-pound
right.
club, dude. See?
So you guys are the same.
That's right.
But
You
I
guys
remember
basically the same.
Those milestones though are so cool,
Yes.
dude. When you break a PR, like I remember the first time I ever hit like 225 bench.
Yep.
I'm like, I felt like Hercules walking around the gym, you know, which
It's
it's all
awesome.
relative because everybody, you know, can lift different things. But yeah, so I've gone back and forth between like the 531 and the strong list 5x5 programs and different things like that. So the 531 is what I noticed the best results on, like a percentage of your PR throughout the week, and then it keeps you on a structure too,
Which is
it
very
tells you,
similar to how we train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. I just gotta dedicate myself to it again.
For people wanting to get stronger in those 3 lifts, the one advice that I would give is get okay with being a little softer,
Right.
and not looking as shredded,
Right.
because you need
You
that
can't have
extra-
both a lot
Yeah,
of
you
times.
need
Need
that
the
extra
weight.
energy store. Yeah.
Need
Yeah.
the meat.
Yep.
So how many calories do you eat? You never. I don't think you said exactly.
Training days, I'm anywhere between like 3,500 to 4,500.
Oh, okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, depending on how much we're doing.
But a lot of that is protein, then, huh?
A lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it gets very difficult to eat.
Is
towards
nutrition?
the end.
Yeah. Is nutrition a huge part?
Yes. Yep.
Huge part.
Yeah, if you want to do well, if you want to do this and do it well, like there's a lot of guys that's like, oh, just eat everything in sight and get gigantic. It's like, well, no, you're going to get fat that way.
Dude, incredible. What's the most incredible part of this conversation is that 10 years ago, you were looking to get scheduled to be put on a liver transplant
dude,
list
that's insane.
with yellow eyes and literally body shutting down and dying.
Yeah.
And here you are squatting 803 pounds with an asterisk next to it because we've
With an
got
asterisk.
All
That's
right, we've got more to that story.
That's right.
But dude, to be able to do either of those two things is pretty incredible.
Very thankful, man. I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God's
thankful to be
crazy,
here.
man.
He is.
Lots of power.
A lot of it. I had somebody tell me in recovery, most people will insanely overestimate what they can do in a year, but massively underestimate what they can do in 10.
Yeah, dude.
And
I love that.
Dude. And looking back over the last decade, like, I just keep saying, like, you know, I'm on borrowed time. I tell everybody, like, I'm on borrowed time.
Amen.
I'm not supposed to be here, man.
Yep.
So don't get in my shoes
Yep.
and just go out and do it.
Dude, we talked about it. It's why we'll talk about this next because I know it's something that that you're passionate about as well. But the state of our country, the state of the world,
Yes.
and Zach and I, we leave this studio sometimes. Well, not this studio. This is our first time in this. This is our interim studio next door to our studio. But we leave the studio sometimes just with our heads down and feeling shitty about the content we're delivering. And we try and we talk about it very often that we want to deliver a message of hope because God is powerful and you know, the story is over. God wins.
Yep,
Like we know how
absolutely.
this ends, but what do we have to, you know, that's Z. We're at C. From C to Z is going to be, God.
Takes all of us.
Right. But the message of hope that there is hope at the other end of that, and you are your story is a testament to that. That we're going to have to go through challenging times.
Yes.
We're going to have to go through dark times, but there is hope on the other end in all of these battles. And your story is, gosh, man, inspiring for those who are in that dark spot and who are early in those stages. But I think what you just said is a key message. Anytime I do any new like coaching or if anyone, I mean, if I can give anyone advice, people, you know, even if it isn't on a coaching basis or a mentorship basis, I try, even in my own team with new employees, people are so hungry and these young kids have no concept of the time input that it takes to get to where they actually want to go. You know, they'll come in, be 27 years old, 23 years old. Hey, I'm looking for, you know, and I don't want to, you know, suck the wind out of their sail, but I also want them to understand you're 23.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be
Right.
successful yet. You have to be 33. Like you have to go through that shit, whatever that shit is, in order to gain the experience to be valued as someone who has that experience. You have to actually do the shit before people, the world, the universe is going to accept that. That's number one, just the concept of you're too young.
For sure.
And I'm not saying you're not too young, you're too young to change the world or you're too young to be successful. I mean, I know 23-year-old millionaires.
Yeah.
It's possible. But you're not respected the same way as a 40-year-old in the game because I can just look at your age and tell you you don't have the experience because there's no way that you can because you haven't had enough time. I tell people the same thing. That's how I start any type of help that I'm going to offer anyone is, well, what are your goals and what's a reasonable time to achieve that? And when they're like, 12 months, I'm like, well, I don't think that's reasonable. So
Sure.
Do I think it's possible? Sure. I'm never going to tell you no.
Takes a lot of work.
It's going to take a lot of work and it's going to take a lot of shortcuts because the right way to do this is going to require the time. So what's a reasonable time frame on that? Let's say 5 years is a reasonable time. So to move the expectations from 1 year to 5 years is a huge hurdle to get over for people. And I assume it's the same with, addiction.
Oh yeah.
Where I want that now, even in a moment of light.
That's like the main thing about an addict's personality. Is
Right?
You want it
I
now.
want it
You
and I want it now.
yesterday.
Right? That's like me. I told you I have a very addictive personality, and that's one of my sort of my toxic traits is not wanting to give it to time, which is something that I didn't understand when I was younger, which is why I understand it so well now because it's something that I personally battled. A time where I was a beast in my mind. I knew I was successful in my mind, but I hadn't done shit to prove it to the world. Yep. And I was pissed because I wasn't getting the respect of somebody that was just in my mind. And then at one point, I mean, I know approximately when it was around 2013, 2014, where it dawned on me, oh, they don't respect me because I haven't done shit yet. That's just all up here. So they don't know what's up here. And if I bring it from here to here and say it, then I'm just talking shit. I still haven't done it. So you've got to do. But then you get the experience of, oh shit, it's been 5 years and now I've actually done some shit and I've got progress. And then you can get on stage or you can get on a podcast and you can start telling your story because you have the story.
Absolutely.
You got to have the story first before you tell the story. If not, you're just talking shit. Anyway, that's awesome. All right, let's talk briefly. We're moving and shaking, man. Time flies in the studio.
Yes, it does.
But I do want to talk before we wrap this thing. I want to talk about what you're a self-proclaimed Constitution enthusiast. What the hell does that mean?
So that is the document that built our country.
Amen.
It's what made our country fantastic. It's what made our country the beacon of light for the rest of the world. And if we do not maintain it, we will quickly lose it. And we're seeing that live and in person, day in and day out right now.
Yeah, we're watching it live and in person. We are literally witnessing the exact scenarios that the authors of the Constitution wrote the Constitution to prevent.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's tearing us apart, and they're doing it with precision. It is a precision execution on shredding that document and tearing our country apart at the seams in order to do it, which is nuts. But without sort of what we just talked about, like we're trying to be a light in the dark. We're trying to be a beacon of hope. We do understand we have our own personal stories and trials and tribulations and testaments to there being light on the other side of this. I think we talked about this one show, the concept of, we always talk on, we use your life as a scenario, the powerlifting side. I mean, the heavier the weight you lift, the stronger you get.
Yep.
So when you take that concept into real life, the harder shit is, the stronger we get.
Yes.
I think we have a real good growth opportunity ahead of us right now.
I think we do too.
Yeah.
But I also think we're going to come out of that stronger than we ever have been. I just hope I hope that document survives.
I do too. And you know, one of the things that I think, and it's media's controlled, like,
Of course.
I don't care what 3 or 4 letter news organization you watch. It's all bought and paid for.
All the same shit.
Yep. And it's all
Same shit, different show, different channel.
same
literally.
circus, different monkeys. You know, and what we're being led to believe is that it's all doom and gloom. It's all burning down. But that document that built our country says, like, if we don't like what's going on, we have the power to change it.
We change it.
Yes.
Not only we have the power to change it, we have the obligation, we have the responsibility
Yes.
to change it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to take some. It's going to take some very strong men,
Yes.
and yeah, we have the obligation to change it, and the ability to change it. I think, again, man, I there is hope. The battle is won. The Bible says the battle is
Yep.
won. We have to prepare for hard times, I think, ahead. But at the same time, communities, man. My solution is, as we talk all the time, you know, personal excellence and personal growth, personal development, getting your own self in order, because that spreads. Everything is
Yes.
contagious. And by spreading it through communities is how we spread this. And that's why we do this little podcast, why we do get you in here, bring other people in to build and grow the community and try and spread. Because I think the communities are intentionally being shredded
Yep.
and torn apart, because they know if we are divided, then we won't be able to fix the problems that are ahead. So I think it's so important now, and fitness communities, recovery communities, even just, you know, patriotic, you know, pro-America communities, whatever the hell the community is, we all need to stand together. And we kind of started off the show, maybe it was before we were even recording, talking about how we've got friends that were, you know, Biden voters
Yes.
who are now looking at us going, ooh,
This dude sucks.
yeah, yeah, Democrats. But I mean, they said that. I mean, they know it's happening. That's why they're trying to get Nikki Haley's ass. She's basically a Democrat.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got a Democrat on the Republican ticket. Her name is Nikki Haley. But dude, the Democrats are turning in the biggest way, and the poll numbers are showing it. The polls are, dude. Democrats are going to be the biggest Trump voters. The biggest independents this year in this election are Democrats, because they're so fed up and everyone sees
sure.
it. So I view that as another high level of hope for us.
Yep.
I mean, people that were, you know, the heavy COVID vaccine community, the heavy Democrat pro what I referred to as just bullshit liberalism. They went so fast with this program since COVID that I think they've woken up so many people, which gives me so much hope. If we can just maintain that constitutional integrity, if we can maintain that document long enough, then for everyone else to wake up and realize that that document is the most valuable document and the most well-written and orchestrated document, probably, arguably, but maybe not arguably, ever written. It has given us and the world every ounce of freedom in the world that came from not only in America, but because of America's freedom that we've been able to preserve all of the other freedoms in the world from becoming this one world global communist society, dictatorship, complete control. Our document and our Second Amendment is what stands between that. And I think the fact that people are waking up now more than ever, as I kind of said earlier, I want to be like, I fucking told you. I've been telling you guys for years. Like, wake up. But I don't care. I welcome the awakening with open arms. It's required. It's what we need.
Yeah.
You know, I've got friends and family members who think that everyone needs to understand this at the deepest possible level in order for us to take action. I don't think that's the case. I think we just need to understand, whoa, some shit isn't right. So stop. Don't do this anymore. This fucker told us that he was going to come in or they were going to come, and none of that happened. In fact, the opposite. All we need is for people to just wake up a little bit to say,
Something doesn't seem right here.
yeah, I don't need that.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like this, so I'm going to stop that. And then they will hopefully, and this is my, again, this is my hope, that they will then say, hey, I'll support the strong men who are going to change this.
Yeah.
And I say strong men. There's a lot of strong-ass women out there.
Oh, for sure.
Who are taking like moms and people who are taking a mama bear type approach to the protection of their families that are also going to be required.
Absolutely.
But this may take us back to the age of where women need to defend and care for the families and the men need to actually physically fight.
Yeah. Agreed.
I hope that's not the case, man. I hope we get through that without that. Anyway, anything else we want to talk about here? We're getting a little long.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
What is it?
You haven't asked him the most important question of all.
What's that?
Well, you ask him.
All right. So, as we usually prep everybody for this one because being a purpose-driven show, Brett, what would you say is your purpose?
So our company's mission statement is improving lives, building leaders, creating legacies.
Ooh.
That is my purpose. I think with what I've gone through and what my business partner's gone through, we all have different stories. We all have different experiences. And that test becomes our testimony. And that's what we reach out into the world to help others overcome whatever it is. And I think especially with what we're talking about with obviously improving lives by helping people overcome addiction in my case, maybe give somebody an avenue to focus on their physical fitness or whatever it may be. But within our company, kind of the further vision that we have is we want to start building leaders. We want to plug people into leadership development programs. We want to plug people into personal development programs, give them those avenues to build themselves up as leaders. If we want to change this country, we have to be able to lead ourselves. And then that just naturally goes into creating legacies. If we can help change just one person's life, if I can help change Junior's life, my detail tech's life, if I can help him become a little bit of a better leader, kid's 20 years old, but if I can help him improve in any avenue of his life and he can take that and blossom it into something that's, that his family has never seen, we've done our job. So improving lives, building leaders, creating legacies.
And it's so crazy, dude. You touched base on it a little bit, but you're doing it from a lot of different angles.
Yes.
Like the recovery angle, the powerlifting angle, the entrepreneurship angle. Like you got a lot going on, man.
Dude, you're doing
Love it.
Living it.
You're doing it. It's literally, and I'm not saying your journey has been or is, and it will not, I can tell you it will not be simple. It will get harder as you scale in business. And surely that will create other challenges and fallout for other aspects of your life. But literally, if we want to change the world, what you're doing is what I believe the only hope we have to change the world, because what you're doing is so contagious and infectious where it will spread throughout communities. And obviously you've already seen that for real life challenges that people really, really are facing every day, that you can just say, hey, yeah, I did that. And here's what I did. Just follow this path and you will change. And then people will have purpose that I assume at some point during those dark periods, you were purposeless. You didn't have the reason, the why, the purpose you now have, and can clearly see. And I think that's what's going to make It's what's going to save us, man. It's what's going to save that document. People waking up every morning knowing that they got something to fight for and there's something on the other end. And I think that's why the doom and gloom is so heavily present in everywhere we go, in everything. And they want us, like you said, they want us to think it's over because if they strip us from our purpose, it's easy to quit. Yep. So you're not a quitter. You're a badass, dude. I love it. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, taking your time out of your busy schedule to come spend time with us, man, and share your wisdom and your purpose. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Of course, dude. We enjoyed it. Zach, tell the audience what you didn't tell them at the beginning of the show, where to find us.
Oh, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Also, Instagram, TikTok,
all the places.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.
Do that. If you found value or you think anyone would find value in this show, you are required to share this on your social platforms.
Also, where can they find you?
Yeah.
You got any tags, handles you got?
At Brett Stevens 84 on Instagram. And you can find me in the same
Throwing
place
a
on
lot of
Facebook.
weight around.
Yeah.
Stevens with a PH.
With a PH.
Don't get it twisted because you can't trust those V's. And if you didn't find value in today's show, I want you to go look in the mirror. Or if you don't believe someone else could find value in this show, I think you're a fucking liar. You're lying to yourself. And if you're lying to yourself, you probably need an intervention. You need this show. Re-listen or re-watch. So that means everyone who ever listens to this show must share it because there's no way they could not find value.
Right.
Thank you for delivering that, my dude.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Mad respect. Yes. Anyway, we're out of here, people. As always, make sure you find your purpose, serve your purpose, and protect your purpose, people. Peace.